P. Ross, how's it going, man?
What's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm actually doing fantastic. Guess who's sponsoring the show?
Who?
Chrono 24, baby.
What? The Chrono
I
24?
the Chrono 24. I told you
Oh
I bought my
wow.
watch, my Omega Speedmaster to them. Is this like 2 years, 2.5 years ago?
Yes, I
Amazing.
remember that.
Yeah, well, the buyer protection, you get to have your watch collection right there virtually. And not only that, it actually tells you what they're trending for, what they're selling for. Now, this really cool thing called the watch scanner, where you actually put it on your wrist. It's a piece of paper, you print it out, and you can virtually try on any watch. And of course, they have a virtual showroom.
Mm. Wow, that's incredible. But don't they also have screened and approved
Yeah,
dealers?
they do.
Global worldwide shipping, customer
I did.
support 24/7, available in 22 languages, new, used, pre-owned, and vintage watches.
Yep, and
Come on,
the
man.
plethora of watches they carry is incredible. Rolex, Omega, Patek, Cartier. I mean, you name it, man. All the big brands are there. So yeah, I recommend it because I've used them.
Absolutely. And if you looking for a watch, hit the link in the description.
Guys, how's it going? Welcome back to another episode of the SoCal Watch Reviews podcast. My name is Miguel. With me, as always, P. Ross. P, how's it going, buddy?
Yo, it's going, man. It's going, and we are in the building once again.
Yeah, we got a special one for you guys, so I hope you guys are ready. P. Ross, do the official intro.
All right, right now we got a legend. Okay, we have somebody of the watch community of a certain stature. You know, he up here with his. You understand what I'm saying? A legend. We have Adrian from Bark and Jack in the building.
What's up? What's
Man,
up,
I
Adrian?
love that energy, P. Ross. That's
Let's do it.
killer.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, guys, for having me on. It's a pleasure to be here. Cool
No, the
talking to you
pleasure's
guys.
all it's ours, Adrian. Thank you so much for accepting to come on. I mean, we have been following your journey for years now, and it's such an honor to be able to collaborate with you. Thank you so much for taking the time, buddy.
I appreciate it. Thanks very much for watching.
So you're coming from Scotland, correct?
Yes, and it's actually I've got a t-shirt on. I've got sunburn. It's been sunny over here. I mean, probably not to your level of sun in California,
Yeah.
but yeah, man, it's quite nice at the moment.
That's awesome.
Cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, I followed your journey, your transition. It seems like you're happier there. I mean, it's probably just like California, right? Living in London. I'm assuming it's like super expensive, and you get like this little micro space where you live. And moving maybe to the country, you're able to actually get a bigger house for probably less money, right? And living the
Yeah,
country
man.
life, and some of the scenery, man, that you've been filming, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. I
Thanks. Yeah,
really
no,
enjoy it.
it's great being up here because it's I kind of grew up in the country, and so it's quite nice to have the outdoor space. But also the transition was quite big as well, kind of job wise, because I properly left my day job, and that was kind of in line with move. One of the deals was with my wife that we went full time at Bark and Jack if we could move somewhere that was a bit more affordable, just in case
Yeah.
everything died, and I could sell the watch collection. We could live up in Scotland for at least half a year on the watch collection, whereas in London, yeah, it's just crazy expensive.
And
It's
now you're back.
unnecessary.
Your wife also is back home, right? I hear she's originally from Scotland, or
Yeah, well, she was born in Hong Kong, but she moved to Scotland when
oh, okay.
she was, I think, 6 months old. So yeah,
Oh,
she's
okay.
they kind of grew up here. But
That's
there's
cool.
there's a weirdly large Chinese community in Glasgow. Out
That's
of the
very
whole
interesting.
UK, it goes London, then Glasgow for the size of Chinese community. It's like, why do you come to Glasgow? It's just cold and wet up here. It's like, there's so many nicer
Wow.
places, but
That's
there
very
must have been
interesting.
some sort of connection.
What
Yeah,
are some of the
the
differences culturally between Scotland and London and England?
That's a good question. I think the Scottish people are more friendly. They're more chilled out. I'm generalizing massively, but it's funny because a lot of people they look at Scotland, or you'll travel to Scotland and you'll just see white people everywhere. There isn't multicultural stuff going on here, and people are
interesting.
like, "Oh, they must be racist." It's like, no, man, they're not. These guys, they don't give a shit who you are. So, do you guys mind swearing? I won't swear.
No, go for it.
Go for it. That's cool.
Scottish people don't give a shit who you are. It's just that it's cold and wet up here, so not many people. If you migrate to the UK, you don't choose a cold, wet place. But now everyone up here is just so chilled out, and it's really quite appealing to have that. I don't know, just be around people who just don't really care what your business is. Everyone's just chilled out. Everyone's very friendly.
That's super cool.
Yeah, it's kind of nice.
I wish I could say the same for California. It's so weird. So here in the U.S., man. I mean, as you know, and it depends what state you're in, but it's a melting pot. We have all kinds of cultures here. Yet you hear the news, you guys watch the news. Racism is crazy out there, which it doesn't make any
Yeah.
sense because there's so many cultures here. And I could only speak for myself because I'm in California. P. Ross is not, but right here mainly is Hispanic. So yeah, it's a lot of white people, free African Americans, and Uh, obviously Mexico's our border right here, so Hispanic is kind of prominent over here. What about you, P. Ross? Is it just a mixture of?
It's a mixture of everything here in Cincinnati. Majority white, then African American or black, however you want to say it. Few Hispanic people too, but it's majority white people here. So
My geography is not very good. Where's Cincinnati?
Ohio.
In the
Cincinnati,
US?
Ohio.
Oh, right. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice.
so we're obviously we call it the SoCal Watch Reviews podcast because I started it just by myself. I figured I was gonna have a podcast by myself, but it got to be very difficult because you need to collaborate with somebody, right?
Mhm.
So I had P. Ross episode 3, episode 4, and
Three
we
or
hit it
four.
off. We're like, hey, your energy's great, and we kind of mesh together really good. And you have a YouTube channel that's just starting, and me too. Let's help each other out, and almost 80 episodes in, and we've had some amazing guests and amazing collaborations, and it's been fun, man. So
That's awesome. It's
but
cool when things come together like that.
and the coolest thing is when it comes together organically, right? Because when it's
Yeah.
forced, you could kind of tell, but when it's organic, I think it kind of works out best, especially with social media. I know a lot of people wanting to start channels and whatnot. They buy subscribers, they buy views, and in my opinion, that's not the way to do it because it's always
No.
going to come back and bite you in the ass. So
Yeah.
but before we move forward, I mean, I see, I kind of spot what's on your wrist, your baby, your Seamaster. But let's do some wrist check, Adrian. What are you wearing?
Yeah. So I've got my White Dial Seamaster. It's a weird watch because it just stops me wearing everything else. It's just an easy watch to wear. I would wear it all the time. It must be quite. I don't know. Yeah, love it. What have you got on?
Bark and Jack strap.
Oh, of course, yeah. The
That's
only.
awesome, buddy. P. Rose, what are you rocking?
Omega Seamaster DeVille,
Oh, sick. What year is that?
60s?
1965.
Oh, cool,
Yeah.
man.
So I got my Omega Speedmaster Reverse Panda. This is a 1990s, Adrian. So this is a JDM model, reference number 3511. It only was released in Japan. And it gets a lot of
cool.
hate from people, right? Because it's like, it's not the professional. It didn't go to the moon. And I'm like, I don't care. And nobody's asking. And it fits me better because it's 38, 39 millimeters, and it's automatic. And it has tritium. I mean, it has the patina on the loom because of the tritium. So I just absolutely love it. So, and it's on an Uncle Seiko flat link bracelet. He only made these for these watches, the automatics, because it's an 18 millimeter lug width. So it's really interesting, and I love it. I mean, Omega makes some amazing products.
And
Actually, it's
he's doing some
interesting.
great bracelets at the moment. That
Oh
Uncle
man,
Seiko
yeah,
dude.
Uncle Seiko.
He's
Yeah,
killing it.
Uncle Seiko's been killing it. Awesome guy. He's such a humble guy. He's here in California, actually, in San Diego. He's my neighbor.
Oh, right.
So yeah, I collaborated with him. He sent me some bracelets for this guy, and pretty well constructed. I mean, it's not a lot of people doing things like this. So yeah, super cool. And I just noticed something. We're all wearing Omega. What's up with that? That's
Omega
interesting.
fanboys.
Omega. Hey, I mean, I wish I could be a Rolex fanboy, but we can't even get them, right? So
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
so
It's great.
Adrian, I obviously been following your journey for a while, and you were on the Standard Age podcast. Amazing episode. That guy does amazing work. And you went into your story. If you haven't, everybody listening, watching, if you haven't seen that or heard that episode, I highly recommend it. Standard Age podcast. Look it up. Adrian was on there. You were very candid and very open about your life and about your dad and your family, and I found it very refreshing because I was like, oh, now I'm getting to know a side of Adrian that he doesn't really talk about, publicly. So
Yeah.
it's pretty cool. And one of the interesting things you mentioned on there was how you got into watches, and it had to do with your dad. But I wanted to see if you could kind of let us know in a condensed version, a little bit about your origin story and how you came to be, so everybody kind of gets to know you a little bit more.
Yeah, it's a tricky one to kind of go down. Watches have always played a part in my life. They've always been a thing that I've been interested in. I remember playing with my dad's chronographs. He was a fighter pilot, and so he'd always be issued chronographs as SoCal, Timex, and I'd always play around with them, and it kind of just became a bit fixated with them. But we collected watch straps rather than watches. So I remember having like
Wait, what?
Yeah, well, because yeah, it sounds a bit weird, doesn't it? But I think it was a Timex Iron Man that we used to have. And kind of, you can buy little bumpers to kind of go around them to kind of protect them and stuff, and get animal. I don't know if you guys had them in America, but these like Velcro animal watch straps, and so we'd have like a whole load of those. You could just they're kind of like old NATO straps.
That's cool. Yeah.
And so that kind of just became a collector thing for us, and it kind of just grew from there. But I didn't realize watches were a thing until my sister-in-law worked at Gucci, and she asked she could get a massive discount on stuff, like crazy discounts, like 90% off stuff. And she said, "Do I want a watch?" She was buying her boyfriend a watch, and so I thought, yeah, I'll get £1,000 chronograph for 100 quid. That sounds pretty cool. I got it. I'm not a Gucci kind of guy, but I don't mind a deal like that.
Yeah.
And I got this watch, and it was the first mechanical watch I had. Up until then, I'd always had just like Citizen Eco Drive. That was kind of like my go-to. And this was the first watch. It had sapphire crystal. It had a mechanical chronograph movement inside. It had a nice leather strap. And I kind of realized that actually maybe luxury watches weren't just a price tag, and there was actually something with it. I mean, us in the watch community wouldn't see that as a luxury watch, but for me, sapphire crystal isn't something that you really get on Citizens, nor is mechanical movements and a calf leather strap. And so it really opened my eyes up to like the luxury side of watches, and I started to do a bit of research and found out that the movement inside this Gucci watch was similar to ETA. I think it was something like a Salita. And so I then just kind of got stuck into the forums and just started delving. I was working at Apple at the time, and I was making some good money on Apple shares because they were just going crazy. So I thought, well, let's see what I can get. So I sold all my watches, cashed out all my Apple shares, and ended up buying my first Rolex. I didn't want a Rolex at this time. I hated Rolex because I thought it was just poser stuff. It's just a fashion brand that charges a lot of money. But for some reason, the more I tried to ignore it, the more my kind of searching just kept ending up going to Rolex. And so I got an Explorer, which was my first watch.
You said Explorer 2?
Yeah, Polydar. Okay. It was from the year 2000. It ended up being what some people refer to as a rare one. It had a Swiss-only dial, which I think when people say this model is a rare version, I think there's always like you have to take that with a pinch of salt. With Rolex, everyone's trying to like figure out a way how their particular Rolex can be special because it's got this slight change in the dial or slight change in whatever. These things are mass produced. There's thousands of these things out there, so they're not that rare.
Man, that watch now is probably worth a lot more money, right? If you would.
Oh shit! I got money off that. The dealer had it listed for 3,200. I dropped him an email and just said, I'll pick it up today for 2,600. He just replied saying, yeah, sure.
What? No way. You oh, crap. Can't do that.
I sold it. No, exactly. I sold it 2 years later for 2,800. I thought, cool. I made 200 quid profit on that. That's pretty decent. I bought my next watch. Now these things go for like $7,000. So that was, that's ridiculous. I mean, we are going back like six years or so, but
that's
yeah,
insane. Well,
that's a kicker.
Let me stop you there. do you think that watch, because you owned it, do you think that watch is worth $7,000? Would you pay $7,000 for
Oh no, 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 no. That's why I refuse to buy one now, because it's there's no way that watch. Or this is one of the tricky things is worth. We will have different perceptions of what worth is. I mean, if you look at a Paul Newman Daytona, are they worth that much money? You have to want that style of watch enough to justify spending. That it's not a technically good watch compared to watches
Yeah.
now. It's also not a normal size of watch compared to what we have now, and that's exactly the same with the Explorer 2. Is that the movement inside? It's all old technology. It's a very light watch. It's not a hard wearing watch compared to what you can get now. And so I want the new Explorer 2. I actually want it more than the old version, but certainly when it comes down to money, it's a no brainer. $7,000 for an old technology watch, or $6,500 for a brand new technology watch. It makes no sense. And I think that's kind of just sums up vintage Rolex now for a lot of people. Is it looks good from afar, nice for Instagram, but does it make any logical sense? For me, I don't think it does.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Yeah, one of my girls is like a 1980s, birth year Rolex Submariner, but the prices just keep climbing up, and I'm like, man,
Yeah.
that's too expensive for what it is. Because
How much is that watch going for now?
I don't know, but 7, 8, 9,000, which is
Really?
crazy. Because I mean, I'm pretty sure if you pick it up, is probably feels cheap, right? I mean, because it's from the 80s, so it's not gonna feel like a Rolex. What a Rolex would feel like. It'll come out awesome in pictures and video, I'm sure. But once you wear it, it's like, yeah, do I really want to be wearing this? So I don't know, man. But so that's cool. So you got into watches because your dad and playing around modding at an early age. So that's pretty cool. That's very fitting with you
switching up the straps,
selling straps now and everything. It kind of ties back to that. That's pretty cool. I could just see your kids in the future being really into watches, because I mean that's what
they're obsessed with. What my eldest has, I think 4 watches now.
No way.
Yeah, they really get it, and they mock me. They've both got little cameras, and they can flip the camera up, and the little one will just go off into the corner. He'll just start making mock Bark and Jack videos. He'll just take the piss out of me. It's
better be careful, Adrian. They're gonna come in hot and get 200,000 subscribers like that. Like, how'd you do that? Can you teach me how to do it?
Wow. Speaking of kids, we know that family plays a big role in your life. How do you balance work life, family life, and furthermore, how supportive is your family on your journey?
Oh man, I don't know the answer. I'm still trying to figure out the whole balancing thing. I think the challenge is that although I have a job, I don't see it as a job. When we kind of, I mean, there might be a cultural difference between us, but the kind of perception of having a job is something that you just like. You go away to do something, you get paid for it so you can pay your bills. That's what my kind of upbringing has been, despite the fact my parents are in the military, so it's slightly different. But I was putting up previously with a day job that I hated, but it allowed me to pay the bills. And so it's kind of like that toss-up of my job is to go out to get money and to support the family. So now I don't see it as a job. It's I make videos and take photographs of watches, and I sell watch straps. None of that for me is tiring. None of that for me is laborious. So it doesn't really feel like I have a job. I've just got a hobby that pays money. That's so cool. It's really tricky for me to separate time from working and family time. It's really tricky, and it causes issues because I obviously enjoy spending time with my family, but I enjoy my work so much that I'm very happy to just do it. I can get into this routine and also to get to the position of having a living off YouTube, you have to hustle so hard to get to that point. So to get to being full time, I'd go do my day job. Whilst I was doing my day job, luckily my boss was part-time. She only worked 3 days a week. And so Monday and Fridays, she wasn't in the office. I managed to get myself a desk in the corner of the bigger office. And so I'd just be prepping for videos on Monday and Friday. And I'd get home from work at about 7 o'clock, have dinner with the family. And then I'd start working about 7:30 8 o'clock until about 12 at night, and that would be my day, and I'd just do that religiously, and it'd get to the weekend and I'd make more videos. And so you kind of get into this work cycle of just grinding, and it's hard to break that, and it's not good for the family for that not to be broken. So I'm still trying to figure that out, and it is tricky. With regards to support, my wife, she runs the kind of retail side of Barker and Jack. She does all the orders, and so it's a good unit, and I wouldn't be able to do it by myself. And it's a lot easier working with your wife than trying to find, say, a business partner that you can trust. But it's also a challenge as well, because it means that we often talk about business. So let's find something else to talk about, you know. So yeah, it can be a real challenge. But in all honesty, I wouldn't have it any other way. I'm very happy with the unit that we have right now. We are maxed out though. We are going to have to hire a team within the next 6 months to help us get to the next stage, because we are. I try not to promote my own products on Instagram, because every time I do, we get an influx of orders, and then she shouts at me because she can't handle the workload.
That's
that
a
makes
great
it sound
problem
like
to
she's. Oh no, exactly. We're in an awesome position, but it's now at the point of, right, do we kind of just plod along like we are and we're happy and content, or do we push forward to the next level? And I'm keen to push forward to the next level. So that's essentially what's going to happen. But to answer your question, sorry, I don't know. I don't know how you balance work and life. It's tricky.
So I guess paint a picture for us. How many hours a week, including the weekend, do you work? If you combine everything from the videos to running the website to shipping the product, how many hours would you say you're putting in, just to let people know how hard you work?
Oh man. Well, let's say I sleep 7 hours a night. What, 7 times 7, 49. So 49 hours I'm not working. I try not to work Sunday. I try and keep Sunday as the family day. Pretty much apart from that, I'm working. I try not to work around dinner time, but it's hard not to eat dinner and then just come straight upstairs and carry on working. And that's another challenge. I don't know the answer to that. I think it's a continuous thing. There's always DMs to answer. There's always emails that need answering. Orders come in 24 hours a day. But I can't complain, because I love, literally, my hobby has become my job. And so it's anyone who has a hobby that they're passionate about. The idea of getting paid to do that, it's sick. It's absolutely insane. I love it.
So
It's
how,
great.
Absolutely.
so as a father, right? The father, you're the head of your household. How satisfying is it knowing that you took this huge risk, right? Going from London to Scotland, and you said, "Hey, let's just figure it out. Let's just see." I mean, you literally went there and said, "I can sell off my collection. We could live off of it if this doesn't work." So how satisfying is it to know that you've grown so much that you just can't keep up, and now you need to hire? I mean, I would imagine that's a huge satisfaction for you.
Thanks for recognizing that, man. Yeah,
Absolutely.
it is. It feels amazing, especially as someone who really struggled at school. I'm dyslexic, and so school was terrible for me, and it really hit my confidence, because now people understand dyslexia and it's kind of an openly spoken about thing. But when I was going through school, it was never recognized as dyslexia. It was just seen as, he's just slow and stupid. Let's put him in the slow and stupid group.
Yeah.
And so it was never really identified. My careers advisor told me that I should become an apprentice at a metalwork factory and just stamp, like, I don't
No
know,
way.
number plates for cars and things.
Are you
And that
serious?
that blew my mind, because I knew my brain was more powerful than that. I wasn't able to figure out how I could output it, or how I could translate what was going on in my head to other things. And so it took a long time to get out of that shell of. It took me 4 or 5 attempts. I've forgotten how many. 4 or 5 attempts to get my English GCSE. I don't know what the equivalent is in the US, but like the high school grade, I didn't pass English. It took me 4 times to get it. And so I was kind of conditioned into that mindset of, you're not good enough to do the normal stuff. You go do the crap, you know. So it feels awesome to be in a position where I have built this and this is supporting the family. So yeah, there's a lot of pride in that, and it's interesting because a lot of people, if you see someone with like a solid gold Rolex, or they're driving around and being a dick in, I don't know, a Lamborghini or something, and they have a lot of arrogance, I would package that as, oh, you're just a dick. But now I kind of have this mindset of F you, like not you, but like society and the educational system. I kind of want to say, fuck you. I didn't do what you told me. I didn't fit into the box that you told me I should fit into. I've broken out of that and done something that society
and I still succeeded.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't fit your mold.
Right.
My brain isn't the brain that you want to go through your education system, but I've made it work. And so now there's certainly a level of, fuck you, I've done this and you didn't help me do it. So I kind of now see people who are overtly showing off their wealth. I mean, everyone has different motivations, but I kind of see it as, I can see that. I can see you wanting to share, to show society that you've made something of yourself. Not saying that wealth is always the answer, but it's kind of that globally, universally recognized feeling of success is wealth. And there's one of my big motivations for leaving my day job was time with the family, and my kind of measure of success from that was having time to do my own thing. I hated the fact that I'd get on the tube, the underground, the subway, and I'd spend 2-3 hours a day stuck in this metal tube, this hot. We don't have air conditioning in our subways, and so it was just sweaty, horrible, and it's not nice. And it's like, what am I doing in my life? And so the first sign of success for me was taking control of that time and doing something that I wanted to do. I can't remember what the original question was, but I hope that answered it.
That was inspiring, man, for sure.
No,
Very
honestly,
inspiring.
I could only speak for myself, but I look up to you a lot, man. Not just from
Thanks a lot.
from the video perspective, right? This whole YouTube thing, but also from a business perspective, because I'm in the same mindset, right? I feel like I'm trapped in this rat race where it's like I have a corporate job and I do this, but I really want to own my own business at some point. I don't know what. And you're right, people do put you down, and maybe you don't do so great in school and you feel, well, if I can't do great in school, what makes me feel that I could become a CEO of a company if I'm stupid? But well, who's telling you you're stupid? Maybe you're just creative and you need to find your outlet that you could be really good at, just like you. I mean, you found a niche that really works, and people look up to you, man. I mean, we mentioned just to a few friends that we were going to have you on, and everybody was blown away. And it's just crazy to see the reaction that people have. They're like, Adrian, no way, Bark and Jack. And it's like, wow,
that's really nice to hear, man.
God figure in the watch industry. So I know it's probably weird for you, like, what? I'm just a guy, but it's not true. I mean, you've created this thing. You have this aura about you, and the way you explain things in your videos so effortlessly. You went to England to promote the new tutor, right? Number one, amazing work. I don't know how you were able to film that B-roll from your hotel room. Here I am struggling. I have all my equipment here, and some of the shots, the glare, the dust, and I'm like, man, this is difficult. And this guy just makes it look so gracefully in a hotel room. Like, that's awesome. And just the way you go about your vlog style. So you go from your vlog to your B-roll to the change of angles and the way you talk, and your audio's on point the whole time. I mean, these little things that people don't realize, that me as a content creator, I go, dang, I get it. Like, this guy that took a long time. Like, people don't appreciate that, but oh man, yeah, with that said, obviously you've been very successful with Bark and Jack as far as the retail side of things. On the website, you started with straps, now pouches, and as of late, the latest product, coffee. I mean, it's a natural progression just because Bark and Jack, you talk watches and you drink coffee. But what was that turning point for you for the coffee portion, I guess? How is that going, and what's next?
Just to jump back a second, you mentioned that you feel like you're stuck in a rat race and you want to start a business, but you don't know what. I was exactly the same as that, and there were a few things books that I listened to and read. One of the big turning points for me was listening to Gary V do his audiobook around Crush It. And I knew this is kind of my second business that I've had. The first one died and kind of just fizzled away, and that kind of hit my confidence. And I kept thinking, I need to think of something great. I need to think of the next Tesla, or I need to think of the next iPod. What's a big thing? And then it was just Gary Vee just talking about, do your passion. If your passion's Warhammer, or if your passion, I don't know, the doodling, do your passion, and the business will build around it. And that is literally all I've done with Bark and Jack. Is I'm passionate about straps. I sold straps way before Bark and Jack. I'm passionate about coffee. I'm passionate about watches. I love leather goods, and so everything that I've done has been around passion. My idea, like you mentioned earlier, do I have 18mm straps? I do whatever I would personally buy. I'm never going to get to a position where I'm selling every single size of strap or every color possible. A lot of people email me saying, "Oh, can you get this color strap in?" I wouldn't buy that strap, so I'm just going to do the stuff that I want. And so that when it comes to just thinking about business ideas, just follow your passion, follow your gut, whatever you're interested in, and then it becomes so easy to sell. Because it's like when I talk about my coffee, I'm not creating a sales pattern. I'm literally telling you what I love about it, because I fucking love this coffee. And so when it comes to doing the coffee, I knew logically it doesn't make sense. He talks about watches on a YouTube channel. He sells watch straps. Why is he selling coffee? There's no logical sense there, but it's just a passion. It's just something that I'm interested in. I've been working on wallets with a dude in London. Wallets make no sense, but I love what he's doing. I want to work with him and create a product. And it's the same with coffee. Miles Fisher, who's a co-founder of Bixby, he got in contact, and we just hit it off. Initially, I thought we were going to try and figure out some sort of content that we'd create together. And then he was like, "We've got a coffee factory." It's like, what? let's do that, man. That'd be sick. And so it's just a bit of fun. It's not commercially. It's not going to be a game changer commercially, but it's, for me, I don't feel every decision has to be commercial and every decision has to be a money maker. It is money's fun. It allows things to happen, but it's not a driver for me. If I wanted to make money, there are a million one things that I can do that I could become a watch dealer and we'd be making millions and millions. But I just want to follow passion and just have fun. And testing and trying out lots of coffee, I just think that's cool. And it's great for B-roll. If you want to make a photograph look great, just have a couple of coffee beans in the background. It just looks sick.
That's true. So what was the reception like? I mean, were you, let me ask you this. So I love what you said, right? So it's not so much about the money, it's about the passion. It's about you going on your website and being proud of every single item that's there, and you don't feel like a sellout, right? You're like, no, everything that's on there, I would personally wear, I would personally drink. So were you a little nervous going into this and saying, how are people going to be? Are they going to be receptive? Are they going to make fun of me? Did that go through your mind?
Yeah, there's always a level of doubt whenever I do something like that, especially as from someone who doesn't actually know me. Maybe I am pretentious, but I don't know. But it can look so pretentious, someone trying to launch a coffee thing when connected to YouTube, and also so many YouTubers do it, so it's such a default thing to do. So yeah, it is scary, but it was also really nice to see how many people got on board with it, and just supported it, and it's just a bit of fun. And there's always going to be people hating what you do. There's always going to be people trying to nitpick. This is the internet. The internet is a horrible place, but at the same time, it's an incredible place. That it can be hugely supporting and just a fun place to be. And so it's just important to ignore all the haters. But no, it's been great. I've loved the support that's come through from the community. It's doing really well. I didn't anticipate how much more admin work it would create, but that's but that kind of just ties into the other point about we're just going to need to hire more people to help us out with the admin. I'm not an organized guy. I'm not good at the admin side of things. I'm very much a creative. Give me a camera and a video to create, and I'm on it. But when it comes to organizing, that's why so many of our bloody straps are out of stock, because I'm just bad at keeping on top of that sort of stuff.
I saw that. I'm like, I went to your website. I'm like, out of stock, out of stock, out of stock. I mean,
It's so embarrassing.
No, but honestly, I think it kind of helps your cause, because it's almost the what they call it, FOMO, right? Fear of missing
Right,
out.
yeah.
So whatever's available, people go, well, I better buy it before it goes out of stock, because I don't know when this guy's going to stock the rest of the things. I mean, it's a good problem to have. It's a good strategy, but at the same time, if it is out of stock for a long time, people may get annoyed, you know. So.
No, exactly. I'm glad it comes across that way, but no, I find it embarrassing. My whole kind of premise was, we're going to do business, but do it right. We're going to have great customer service. Everything's going to be in stock. No one's going to have to wait for anything.
No wait list. I'm not rolling.
Yeah, no wait list. We do have great customer service, but stuff does go out of stock.
Adrian,
Wow.
hey, P. Ross, Adrian's gonna call people like a year later. Hey, your strap, your 20 millimeter just came in.
It's finally in. It's finally in.
Yeah, you better not flip it.
Hey, yeah, go on eBay. They're going for triple the price. These
Right.
Bark and Jack straps with all the sweat and the cottage cheese. It's fine. I'll still buy it.
Horrible.
We have a question from a fellow content creator, Dale from Mr. Ace Productions.
Oh, cool, man.
Wants to know the top 2 to 3 tips for growing a YouTube channel.
By the way, Adrian, if you haven't checked out Dale's channel, Mr. Ace K Productions.
Oh, I do. No, I talk to him quite a lot. He's a dude. Yeah, he's a
Man,
cool guy.
we had him on the
Yeah.
show. I don't even know how we became friends on Instagram, and he is the reason why I bought. I don't know where it's at, but he's the reason I bought my SPB 143, my Seiko, the one that looks like a 62
Yeah.
MAS. That case, he had it, and I saw these amazing pictures, and I'm like, holy crap! So we became friends, which is interesting. He's in Australia. We had him on the show. He's actually a commercial pilot, which is super cool. And yeah, he knew you were going to be on the show, and I'm like, you want me to ask him anything? And I know one of the things that we always talk about is growing on YouTube, and especially him, man. I mean, his production level is insane. So I'm like, how do
It's
people
incredible.
how is your show? Oh, how is your YouTube channel not any bigger? And we just can't figure it out, you know. So he wanted me to ask you, you know, what P. Ross said, 2 to 3 tips for growing on YouTube.
And I remember posting that when I was going on holiday to Belgium, and I got scared at how quickly I got like 30,000 views in the first like couple of hours of it going live. And I was shitting myself. I thought, what have I done? Is someone paying for views and adding them to my account? Well, this is just scary. This isn't fun.